sled, grab your broom, take off. Hey, it's a thing to do.
Hey, hose heads, welcome back. Thanks for stopping by. We're back into the deep freeze in Alberta here, but we did get some nice weather, and I pulled this out and give it a quick spray down with some engine cleaner and a pressure washer. You'll see that after my babble here. So got the engine bay cleaned up. I got brake fluid everywhere playing around with those brakes, so I needed to do something about that, so I cleaned it out. I tried getting in underneath, but the transmission is just full of gunk, so I got to get in there with a scraper and scrape that off at some point in time. But yeah, so we're back in the garage. In one of my previous videos, I said that I needed to start making lists. So I've made one list. It's the things I need to do that I think I need to do for the inspection to get this thing road legal. So some of the projects are, but not limited to, the rear brakes. The front sway bar, it is bent. I got to straighten it out and get new bushings for it. I need to replace the one leaf spring. It is broken. So I'm just going to throw one of the leaf springs in from the other truck for now. The windshield wipers, actually, I can cross that off the list. That was just a few. So the windshield wipers are now working. I don't know about the windshield fluid, because what's the point in putting that in right now? But maybe at some point in time I will test that out. We have a turn signal. The right turn signal does not work on any of the lights, so it's something in the steering column or in the wiring or something like that. I do have new bulbs for a few of the lights. I'll put those in tonight. I got to get the speedometer working yet. I do have the speedometer cable to throw in there. Vacuum hoses, there's a bunch of broken vacuum hoses and stuff. I want to replace those. Fuel gauge I need to troubleshoot. I might play with that a little bit tonight. Door hinge, I got new pins for that, the driver's door. It does not shut, and there's a lot of wiggling in there, so the pins have worn out. So I will be replacing those. And a full new windshield, I got to do that, or at least I think I have to do that for the safety inspection. I'm getting mixed signals online. Some guys will say that some people will pass it, some won't. Same with the exhaust. I got to do the exhaust, and I don't know if I need to put a catalytic converter in order to pass the test, or if somebody will pass me without that. But I found that they're fairly cheap online, so I will put a catalytic converter in, and I will do a windshield. Some nice to haves that I might play with are stereo, put in a stereo, new dash and door panels. At some point in time I have to do that, but do I do that before the inspection or not? I don't know. I've been playing around. I've been trying to talk myself out of doing my own digital gauges out of Arduino boards and stuff, and I want to try it, but again, it's not needed, so why should I waste my time and money on that? Android Auto, I want to put a head unit in there with a big 10-inch display. New seats, I'm probably just going to throw the red seat in here, throw a seat cover over it for now. Steering wheel, that's going to be a must-have. I don't like the big steering wheel, so I will be putting a new steering wheel in there at some point in time. And tires, I got to get my white lettering tires on here. These ones I think will work for now and to at least get me to the inspection, but we'll see where I sit with that. But that's my list of stuff to do. So in this video tonight, we're going to get back on the rear brakes. I want to get back in there. I got another new toy, a pneumatic brake bleeding, brake fluid bleeder. I'm going to see if I'm able to suck brake fluid out of the back brakes with that thing. I have a feeling that the proportioning valve is tripped over, and I don't know if I can trick it to neutralizing, or if I'm going to have to pull that apart and recenter that valve or not. But we're going to try a few things to see if we can't get brake fluid going to the back. So that's our first thing. Take out the tires and start playing around with that. So if you don't hear from me again in this video, thank you for watching. Okay, so it's the next day. We got the back brakes working. So all the brakes are working now. That pneumatic bleeder worked really good. There was a little thing you could have it spray constantly, and I helped it out a little bit by pumping the brakes. And it doesn't give enough suction to pull fluid right out of the brakes, but it pulls all the air out, because I was playing around with it and no air was coming out when I was bleeding it manually. So we're good there. Didn't have to play around with the proportioning valve. So now we're under the truck. We're chasing down the fuel gauge problem. So I did a quick test yesterday, and on the gauge, if you ground the gauge out to ground, the needle will go all the way to empty. So we know the gauge is working. So now we got to figure out the wiring from the gauge down to here. So this is the wire. You can see it. This is the wire that goes to the sending unit on the tank. And this pink wire here was the wire that it was connected to. And we're missing what looks like an orange wire here. Oh, that probably went to there. That one went to there. So anyways, we got to see what wire goes. There's two pink wires that go into the gauge cluster for the fuel gauge. And I can't find where they go through the firewall. But if I trace this wire, this pinkish wire, it goes across the truck. It goes across the truck, and then on the outside of the frame up to the engine. And I think I know what wire it is. But first, we're going to test from the gauge to this wire to see if it works. And then we're going to test continuity from this wire up to the wiring harness. I'm suspecting we don't have continuity there. So then I'm going to cut my wire that I think is this wire, check for continuity there, and then maybe run a wire from there if I have continuity to here. If I find this wire somewhere up there, I'm going to splice a new wire up to the gauge. Wish me luck.
Take off to the great white north. Take off where the jokes come forth. Grab your sled, grab your broom. Take off, hey, it's a thing to do. So you're saying we can't park the moose here, buddy? That's rude. Let's grab a beer. We'll take the Zamboni.
Okay, so I have continuity all the way through the system up to the gauge. When I ground that wire out down below, the gauge goes down to 0. I had thought I tested the wire that's cut that goes to the fuel tank, and I thought I had a circuit there. I thought I had grounded out and I had continuity between ground and that thing just, it measures resistance there. but apparently I don't. So I don't know if there's a short in the wire or if my test was just wrong. So I think I got to drop the gas tank. Not going to do that today. We'll move on to other wiring issues. My next thing is I stole another part off of Doug. This is the signal light, the right signal light, front signal light. I bought some bulbs the other day. Again, why did I go buy bulbs when I had bulbs from the other truck? But whatever. When I was putting the bulb in, one of the contacts that's inside that fell out. So now it's not working. So I'll rewire this, put it in, try the signal. I got the left turn signal lights working, the right turn, well, I got to get that bulb in before it blinks, but I think the switch is either loose, corroded, or I'm going to need a new one, because if I push on the signal light, the light comes on, and if I don't, the light goes off. So I think we've got issues in there. No horn, so we might pull into the steering column after I get this done up. So that's what's next. Let's tell you a little bit about what just went on. So yeah, I might have jumped the gun a little bit and just rewired the plug without doing any tests. I knew I should have used temporary connections to start. But so what I first put on was these solder connections. It's shrink tube. Let's see, focus. Anyways, there's a little bit of solder in there, some glue, and some heat shrink. And I put those on and tested the light, and it was dim. So I figured I'd use ChatGPT for that. And I'll put up the screenshot here, and it told me to test the ground. So I ran the cable from the ground to the battery, and I touched the metal right there, and it lit up nice and bright. So I knew I had a bad ground. So then I played around with it, and then I took the plug off, and then I looked inside, and if you see in this one, that metal goes all the way down to the bottom, and the plug that I robbed off of Doug was broken, and it only had a little nub up here, so when I was pressing it, it was grounding better to the edge of the light. So all I did was bend that a little bit more, and made more contact with the light, and that fixed it. I put these Wago connectors on. I don't know if you've heard of them. I use them on the house all the time, but they're going to be great for on the truck here. They're little connectors, and they've got little doors on them or grips on them. So you flip that down, and that grips the wire. And this one has 2 plugs. Come on. Anyways, this is a 2-wire connector, and then I used the inline connectors on that light, but you can also get them. So there's a 3-wire connector and a 5-wire connector. So yeah, that's what I used, and I should use them more when I'm doing my wiring, so I don't have to keep cutting wires and all that kind of good stuff. So now that I got it figured out, I think I am going to put the soldering stuff in there. The soldering with the glue and the heat shrink is waterproof, and these Wagos are not. So now that I got it working, I'm just going to throw that in, do what I did at the start, and that'll be my signal lights.